Out a very short. Sorry, can you see my presentation?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, everything all right. And it's my pleasure to give a short talk for PhD students and of your institute. And in this short talk, I would like to introduce our university, in particular, our research activities from my research group, including research and teaching courses, and I will also explain how to prepare for and how to complete a PhD at our university, and of course, how to obtain funding for PhD research training. So, Magdeburg is a small city with approximately 2,050 inhabitants. It is located roughly halfway between Berlin and Hanover. Sorry, not Hamburg, Hanover, by car. Magdeburg is the capital of the state Saxony-Anhalt in Germany. And our university was founded in 1993. It has approximately 12,500 students, and the staff includes around 2,000 employees, among them about 200 professors. Of course, these numbers are not constant, they vary slightly from year to year. The name Otto von Guericke may be familiar to you from school physics courses. He is famous for his experiments with hemispheres, and in particular, he was the first who demonstrated the existence of atmospheric pressure. Between 1646 and 1676, he served as burgomaster or major of Magdeburg. Our university includes 9 faculties, covering a wide range of disciplines from mechanical engineering to computer science and economics, management, all this stuff. The Faculty of Mechanical Engineering is our home faculty and includes 2 institutes. One of them, and the first of them, is our institute, and it's called Institute for Materials, Technologies, and Mechanics. And within the institute, there are several smaller units, and they're often referred to as professorships, chairs, or simply groups, working groups. And our group is called Engineering Mechanics. I'm currently responsible for this group. And let me present some activities in research and teaching. So this picture shows you our current research focus areas, which have evolved from our research projects over the past 5 years. Material models for plasticity, creep, stress relaxation, creep fatigue, and many other related phenomena has been a central research topic at the Geoengineering Mechanics for more than 30 years. And in recent years, new methods in artificial intelligence have enabled significantly more efficient modeling. AI-based approaches help us to systematically identify suitable of physical model components or model blocks. And at the same time, we use neural networks to smooth experimental data and to efficiently calibrate complex and unified material models. And this opens up new possibilities for analyzing components under complex and realistic thermomechanical loading conditions, of course, in the inelastic range. Another topic is about phase change materials, or abbreviated phase change composite materials, or abbreviated CPCMs. And these materials have been intensively developed in recent years for thermal energy storage and controlled heat release. In these materials, a phase change constituent or component, for example, tin, is embedded in a shape-stable material matrix, for example, made from aluminum. And as the temperature increases, this PCM or phase change material phase melts. On the other hand, when temperature decreases, it solidifies again and releases the stored heat. So this is the principle of this material, this functional material. However, thermomechanical cycles give rise to challenging strength-related questions. For example, you may have thermal shock cracks or something like this, and we are involved and contributing to this research with 2 projects currently funded by the EU Horizon program. Okay, classical engineering mechanics is based on local interactions, which are described by internal forces acting between material points. Remember the beam, classical engineering mechanics. We introduce internal forces like normal force, shear force, bending moment, and so on. And these are examples for local quantities or contact quantities. When long-range interactions are additionally introduced, then a new and interesting non-local theory emerges, and this theory is known as peridynamics. And this peridynamic approach allows us to investigate complex damage phenomena, for example, crack initiation, crack branching, crack pattern formation, and so on. And over the past 10 years, these possibilities have led many research groups worldwide to further develop this theory. In our group, we apply these methods, for example, to strength analysis in laminated glass structures. Additionally, non-local force interactions are used in our group to analyze delamination processes and layered components and polymeric thin films. So these are roughly and shortly our research topic. We may discuss later if you want. In detail, in teaching, we cover the classical subjects of mechanics, ranging from continuum mechanics, strength analysis. You see some courses are in German, some courses in English. Betriebsfestigkeit is strengths of materials, in particular fatigue. Then you see applied biomechanics, lightweight structures, inelastic structural analysis. And since 2025, we have also been offering a new course titled Non-Local Structural Mechanics and Peridynamics. And this course is designed to encourage young students and researchers in mechanics to take on new and challenging problems. In summer 2025, this was our first try. Around 30 students successfully passed the exam. And now we continue. We have now the second try our new semester is going to start from after the Easter, from April 7th. So this will be our second try with this course, this new course. Okay, now regarding PhD and doctoral training, first of all, some important aspects of awarding PhD in Germany. The first point is that only universities have the legal right to award doctorates. The second point is that the individual faculty regulations dictate admission, supervision, and the final examination process. There are no central rules in Germany for PhD, and the faculties, the university, and in particular the faculty regulates everything. Okay, institutions or researchers from institutes. There are several institutes in Germany, several project institutes in Germany. Examples are Max Planck Society, Fraunhofer Society, or Helmholtz Association. And researchers from such institutes must be enrolled at the university to receive the final degree. They have no own right to award PhD. Maybe you know that in Germany there are two types of universities. One is the classical type, like OVGU, but there are the so-called universities of applied sciences, or in German Fachhochschulen. And in Magdeburg there is one. And these universities has, as a rule, no own right to award PhD. And students from such universities must be enrolled in our university to get a PhD degree. The next thing is how to apply for acceptance as a PhD student in our university. The first and the very important thing is to start a PhD in Germany. You generally need, of course, a master's degree, but the final grade must be at least 2.0 or better or higher. On the German grading scale, maybe you know the German grading scale 1.0 is the best grade, while 4.0 is the lowest passing grade. So you need to have at least 2.0. It depends on the universities. Some universities say 2.3, but 2.0 is a good number to remember. So then you have, of course, to apply and to register. And optionally, you may have a matriculation at the university. It is not necessary. This is optionally, but usually it's a good thing. You have to pay a little bit, but you get the access to many facilities of the university. For example, you may attend as a student, you may attend any course from all faculties of the university. We have some PhD students in mechanics, and sometimes they need informatics courses, and they attend informatic courses for parallel programming or this type of stuff. As an example, there are other options available. There are other things available from the university. For example, you get a cheap train ticket or access to the Mensa and so on. One important thing is the supervisor. You need to find a supervisor in Germany, and you have to speak with him about the topic of your project or topic of your research. And in the case that you have an agreement, the supervisor has to provide the agreement to the faculty. And you have to submit a couple of documents, such as master degree or equivalent. It must be recognized by the German university. Of course, CV and maybe other small things to be supplied. We have a special website if you're interested in the university. They provide our faculty has a special website, and they provide the number of documents and other options to be done before submitting everything to be a doctoral student. Okay, regarding the duration of PhD in mechanics, as a rule, it takes typically 3 to 6 years to complete, with the average duration of 4 years. This is my experience, or our experience. I have 6 PhD students finished successfully and got the grade. But in the past, maybe you know, Professor Altenbach was head of the department for many years. He's now retired, and he had more than 100 PhD students. And the average duration is around 4 years. It depends on. While structured programs are often completed within 3 or 4 years, individual doctorates can take 5 to 6 years. There are different types of employment and contracts. You may get the university position from 3 to 6 years. You may get a project position at the university. It depends on the project, from 2 to 4 years. You may apply for a scholarship. Scholarships are usually designed for 3 years. And there are the so-called research training schools, or in German Graduiertenkolleg. They provide a position for 3 years. This was, for example, my case. I finished PhD in Magdeburg at the beginning of 90s in such a research training school. And the duration was only 3 years. And you can, of course, you might be the external student. You may work in the company or in the University of the Applied Science. And in this case, the duration is from 3 to 6 years. Okay, if you are at the university, there are different possibilities. The first one is the university position. Here you work at a specific chair, a working group, or within a research project. And these positions are usually fixed term, from 3 to 5 years. And you have to do research, you have to do teaching, and of course, some administrative tasks in the university. Therefore, to finish PhD, you need a little bit more time, usually 5 years. So there are the so-called DFG funded, there are many DFG, funded projects. Examples are the DFG, maybe you know what is it. This is German Research Foundation. And there are research training groups funded by DFG. There are some collaborative research centers funded by DFG, or you may even get the individual project. One thing is that as a student, you cannot apply directly for DFG. You have to speak or to apply to the project leader who is responsible for the project. And usually such positions are announced and you may apply directly for the position. Of course, there are other projects funded by EU Horizon, BMBF, it's the National Project Foundation, and many others. And usually positions are provided for several years. And again, these positions are announced. You may apply for them. Another option is to get a scholarship or a grant. Two possibilities are The Saxony-Anhalt graduate funding, we have 2 calls per year. And you get a scholarship in the case of success, you get a scholarship for 2 years. And if you have success during your PhD, then it can be prolonged for 1 year. So in total 3 years funding. And for the foreign students, another option is DRD. This is translated the German Academic Exchange Service. And they provide different types of scholarships for 9 months, for 1 year, for 2 years, as I remember. And you may visit the homepage of DRD, drd.de, and they have a special database where you can search for different types of projects or funding possibilities in Germany. Not only they are provided by DRD, but also by other funders. Okay, I hope it is enough. Thank you. Little short information, short summary of information for regarding PhD and our research activities. If you need more details, please visit our website, and you may find there all the projects we have now currently or finished projects. All publications from recent years are open access, and therefore they are freely available. You may download them. So thank you very much. If you have questions, we may discuss. That's all. I stop my screen.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Naumenko. Dear colleagues, are there any questions to Professor Naumenko? Or may I ask you a question? It's about the topics of disciplines that are taught on your department. Who determines these topics? Are these topics the field of research of the scientists that teach at the department?
It depends on. For example, in our faculty, we have some special topics we collaborate with other groups in our faculty. Therefore, we do some stuff. For example, we cooperate with material scientists and modeling of creep, fatigue, and so on. This is a collaboration inside the faculty. Then there are a lot of international collaboration. We have a couple of Erasmus agreements with Italian universities, for example, and we cooperate for many years. And some topics were defined, and we got some grants. This is another thing. Then regarding peridynamics, it was one example. We got collaborations with Glasgow many years ago, and then some interesting projects were formulated, and then we got some projects on glass here, a local project, and therefore we are doing peridynamics now in the last 6 years. So there are no special definitions. It depends on the current financial possibilities, current calls, and this is so approximately. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Colleagues, are there any questions? Будь ласка, можете українською задавати питання, якщо... Пане Володимире, ваше питання.
Останнім часом почалася така широка кампанія, значить, приниження вкладу професора Тимошенка в так звану теорію бабки Тимошенка. Зокрема, вказують, що співавтором треба вважати професора Ернфеста, фізика. Як ви і спільнота, яка кругом вас, до цього відноситься? Бо вперше ми почули це від згаданого вами професора Альтенбаха.
I answer in English. This, there are some publications about this. In the past, people say, okay, there's a Timoshenko beam. In the world, this is well-known Timoshenko beam. This is a well-known model. But some people say Ehrenfest was doing something in some publications, and Timoshenko Ehrenfest, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the contributions of Ehrenfest, but there is this model which is called shear deformation beam theory, or the first order shear deformation beam theory. Maybe this, in my view, this is better because it is clear what is going on. So in our last papers on peridynamics, we developed a new beam theories which are more or less correspond to Timoshenko beam, and but we are writing first order shear deformation beam theory instead of writing Timoshenko beam theory. Or in the case of plate, the situation is bad because people say Reisner-Mindlin plate theory, and this is absolutely wrong. There are two different models developed by Reisner and Mindlin. So my personal view is to, of course, I know the original work of Timoshenko, and I do not remember, it was a book, in one of the books, Theory of Elasticity with Goodyear. I do not remember exactly where I was firstly reading about this. And but now in the modern literature, it is people are writing shear deformation beam theory or shear deformation plate theory. This is my personal view, not to directly connect with names, but maybe it's better to specify the model according to the basic assumptions in the model. That was your question. I don't know if you are satisfied.
Дякую.
Thank you. Ще є питання, будь ласка. Це була лекція для аспірантів. Хотілося б хоча б одне питання від аспірантів наших почути, якщо вони є.
I have one question.
Yes.
It's interesting how it's in Germany and in Europe Union in general is popular to, let's say, proceed with scientific career after some working experience, in engineering or in other industries, let's say. Is it also like in Ukraine, mostly after graduation, students try to complete a PhD? Or it's also popular to have some working experience and then return to university to proceed with PhD?
I don't know about most of our PhD students are coming from universities. They started after finishing the universities. Most of students, I remember. But several students, maybe 10, approximately 10%, are working in the company. You may do PhD in parallel, working in the company, it would take a longer time. Or you may say, okay, I can Usually it is not so. If you have a good position in the company, that it makes no sense to change to university because you have much higher salary and many options, you know. I do not remember if somebody started in the company and then changed to university, and then you have to go back to the company to find the position again. I do not remember if somebody did this in Germany. So most of the students are doing PhD after finishing the university, but with the PhD degree, you can go to the company. There are many, many examples. You may get a good position in the company. Okay?
Yeah, thank you. And maybe one additional question. How then, let's say, company needs are, let's say, connected with scientific research, let's say, is it somehow connected in general? Because company probably needs some scientific results, but they should somewhere get them. And how university know what is needed for business, let's say?
We have some common projects. Currently, we have common projects with companies, where companies are involved, of course. And we are collaborating for many years with companies. For example, Siemens, we got a lot of projects with Siemens Energy. Then many students are working or have practica in the companies. They are doing master thesis in the company. They have to defend in the university, but we need to collaborate with the company to provide such a possibility. So I have had many students finish master degrees and then prepared master thesis by working in the company like Bosch or Mercedes or Siemens. So by this way, we have some collaborations and we have some common projects. And it is a good thing if you have a common project with the company, then the student who is doing this project has an option to get a PhD degree at the university. And after the finishing this at the university, the company is usually interested to get this student to the company because they know exactly who is it and his experience or her experience. This is usually the practice.
Yeah,
Some common projects, and the common projects could provide the ideas for research and for PhD. And after finishing this PhD, you can go to that company and work there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, colleagues? Ще, будь ласка, питання, якщо є. Ну, якщо питань нема, то я буду тоді ще раз висловлю свою подяку до професора Науменка за чудову лекцію, на відповіді на наші запитання. Дуже були раді почути вас в нашому інституті. Це була лекція не тільки для наших аспірантів, а дуже корисна і для нас. Будемо чекати на будь-які можливості співробітництва з вами. Всі теми, що ви назвали, дуже цікаві. Багато хто з нас про них знає. То ще раз хочу подякувати, побажати вам успіхів у навчанні, в науці. Ну і хочемо підтримувати контакт. Ще раз дякую.
Михайло Федорович, 2 слова можна?
Да, звичайно, Олександр Ярославович.
Dear Professor Naumenko, you can't to see me, but I would like to say thank you very much for your interesting report. I hope to see you in Kyiv, in our institute, in future.
Yes, for sure. This is, unfortunately, this is the online section, but I hope that in the nearest futures we can do the offline meeting in Kiev or here in Germany to speak in more details about.
We hope, we hope.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexander Yaroslamovich. Thank you. Ще хтось хоче висловити подяку професору Науменка? Якщо ні, то ще раз дякую від мене. І успіхів. На все добре тоді. Закінчуємо зустріч. До побачення.
До побачення.
До побачення.
До побачення.